I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at villageXchange@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy a match.
Buy our merch indeed. It shall
right.
lead them. This is not Jeopardy.
No, it's not. This is Flogging Molly, Drunken Lullabies.
Shout out to the homie. I almost shot a Middle America video on Jeopardy, and then I decided against it.
Oh, really? Flogging Molly, Drunken Lullabies. Shout out to all the bad parents.
Flogging Molly from this right here is a symbol of the birthday they River. Shout out to River. Bow. Okay, so a DJ stream is when a villager gets 4 or more songs and they rule the roost for the entire night. We do every song that they want, etc., etc. Even the versions, should you put them in there. But you, dear listener, benefit from the altruism of your fellow villager because you get to enjoy the reaction for free.
And you're part of a birthday party. Because this is the party for River.
For sure.
We have some added lights spinning around for
we got
birthday.
that techno energy. We on our shees.
We have some dancing bears.
All right, guys. The moment has arrived.
This is what, hold on, please pause. DJ River said, "Follow Me Up to Carlo by the Young Dubliners is a classic Irish rebel song as performed by a great Celtic punk band."
Okay. More rebellion. That's what I'm about. Flogging Molly, Drunken Lullabies. Let's go.
Whoops. Oh, pause it.
Pausing it? Okay.
Sorry, there was another message here.
Oh.
This is the song. River said, the song that got me into both punk rock and folk. It was on at the skate park when I was a kid all the time, and the album became one I played all the time as a kid. Okay.
Now
skate park.
I'm going to imagine the skate park.
Me too.
All right. Flogging
I'm going to envision
Molly,
a small river skateboarding.
Drunken Lullabies. Let's go.
Skateboard?
had one of these Irish bands.
Yes.
Watch him stare as Roshin's eyes turn a darker shade of red. And the bullet with their sniper lie in the bloody gutless cell. Must we starve on crumbs from long ago? True bars these men may steal. Is it a great or little thing we fought? Not the conscience blessed and kill. Must it take a life for hateful lies to glisten once again? Cause we find ourselves in the same old mess, singing drunken lullabies. Oh, maybe it's the way we're taught. Oh, but maybe it's the way we fought. What a smile ever grins without tears to begin. For each kiss is a joy we all lost. Though nothing is left to gain, but for the punching and stole the grave. Cause we find ourselves in the same old mess, singing drunken lullabies. Right. Sit and dwell on faces past like memories seem to fade. No color left but black and white, and soon will all turn grey. But maybe shadows rise to walk again with lessons truly learned. When the blossom flowers in each heart shall be the new found flame. Must it take a life for hateful lies to glisten once again? Cause we find ourselves in the same old mess, singing drunken lullabies. Cause we find ourselves in the same old mess, singing drunken lullabies. Singing drunken lullabies.
No surrender, no retreat. Remember that one?
Which one?
No surrender, no
Yes.
retreat. And then Ian had the thing. I want to play that for them. I can't find it. I forgot the
can't
words
find
of
it?
the song. That was Flogging freaking
It kind of
Molly.
reminded me of "She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain When She Comes."
It did, this song actually reminded me of church. We're gonna find that song. There's a song that we used to play in the church we used to go to, and it sounds.
What? Say it again. What was the lines?
No surrender, no.
Yeah.
I'll find it later.
You don't want me to find it right now?
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to find it.
Why?
Let's review the song. Let's do that.
Okay.
So I was the lyrics here were pretty dynamic, and we go ahead.
Well, it kind of sounds like we're just going through the same circle.
What do you mean?
Must it take a life for hateful eyes to glisten once again? 500 years, like, I don't know what that means, have blown us all to hell. What Savior rests while on a cross we die? Forgotten freedom burns. Has a shepherd led his lambs astray? To the bigot and the gun.
Ooh.
It kind of seemed like
This is talking about the
circle
Troubles. Isn't it the Troubles in Ireland? You heard about that?
no, what is it?
So basically, it's a war between Catholics and Protestants. It's like terrorist attack, explosions, whole 9 yards. Remember we did the zombie song, Zombie, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
That was about, I'm pretty sure it's about that same situation. It's about all these kids were dying and stuff, and people were just watching
Oh my
TVs
gosh.
like zombies. Everybody's going,
That's right.
We actually talked about it.
That's right, yeah.
So it looks like it's talking about that specific time period. Must it take a life for hateful eyes to glisten once again? So, in order for... That's a crazy line. What do you think that means?
Well, I took it as the person was hateful, and because of that, they lost the twinkle in their eyes. But do they have to kill again for them to get that sparkle back?
Yeah. That you have to see your enemy die in order to restore your happiness. Mm-hmm. Like I remember I've talked about this a few times. Kasaspa was the pilot that the guys in ISIS set on fire, and they killed him. That guy.
Yes. Yeah.
And they titled the video, I think it was "The Cooling of the Chest of the Believers." That's what it translates to from Arabic, the cooling of the chest of the believers. And there's a passage in the Quran which basically says, you're being persecuted now, but be patient. Allah will send something to cool the chest of the believers. It's basically his vengeance. Basically, like, you're upset, your chest is angry, like, it'll calm you down. And so that's what they titled the video of the revenge killing of this pilot, was the cooling of the chest of the believers, because it was like this guy had been part of I think it was the Turkish Air Force or the Jordanian. No, I'm pretty sure it's the Jordanian. He took part in gun runs and all that jazz, and he bombed the shit out of those people. And as I keep trying to explain to people every time we talk about Afghanistan, when you bomb, civvies are going to die. That's a fact. And sometimes burning to death is many times is the way that people die in a bombing. A lot of people don't know that, but that's true. So for them, I remember watching. I shouldn't. I mean, I kind of had to. I should have never watched the video. I mean, that was kind of when I really began to initiate my policy. Like, unless I have to watch that shit, I'm not gonna watch this shit anymore. Mm-hmm. And we had a guy that was like mega fascinated with all those crazy videos, and I told him, like, stop watching that shit, man, because he'd want to talk to me about it all the time. Of course, like. Mm-hmm. I obviously did not want to talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Did he stop watching?
And
or
of course,
did
he had no idea. But yeah, well, he stopped talking to me about it because I told him, I was like, "Yo, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear about it. Like, I don't want to talk about it." But it was crazy because I remember when I saw that video, and I remember thinking to myself, like, first I remember thinking the first thing I thought was I'd have just put a bullet right in the guy's head. Like, he was suffering hard, you know. But the second thing I thought was, like, then I was looking at the guys in the video. I'm like, none of y'all could have, like, all right, okay, but like, none of y'all could. So then at that point,
none of y'all could have what?
Like, shot the guy and put the guy out of his misery.
But they didn't want to, right? They didn't like the guy.
They're just standing there watching dude.
They wanted him to suffer, right?
Well, I mean, those situations, you really can't be a conscientious objector. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are you gonna do? It's not like they could say, whoa, we shouldn't do this to this guy, especially if it was coming from Baghdadi. Like,
yeah,
you know,
and I think if you shoot the guy when they're trying to do that, you're probably putting yourself at risk by making it look like you're buddies of theirs.
No, I understand, but that was what was going on in my heart at the time. I'm just saying, like, when it says must it take a life for hateful eyes to glisten once again, because that line was so powerful to me, because that was what was going on with me. I was so angry about what I saw, and I was just like, I want to kill every single last one of those motherfuckers. Like, I cannot. And then the Jordanian president was formerly in the Air Force, so they did this big propaganda. Oh, he did a gun run and he dropped some bombs on ISIS, and I was like, yeah, that's right. Fuck them niggas, good. And the Lord was saying, it was one of those things. You ever know, like, when he kind of like sits up next to you and says. So I'm like, yeah, good, fuck them niggas, good. And the Lord was like, yeah. He said, do you do well to be angry? Which is, you know, what he said to Jonah. Do you do well to be angry?
Oh yeah, he said, what is your favorite fault to Cain?
And I said, yeah, I do. Those motherfuckers need to die. So they got what they got. And he said, yeah. He said, you know how people die, Vin, in bombings? He said, you know how people die in bombings. And I said, yeah. Good for them. Fuck them niggas. I'm talking to God. I'm having this conversation. I was so angry. Then I heard about the Jordanians that were gun running. And then he said, so let me get this straight. You are angry at these ISIS people because they set a guy on fire and burned him alive. And so because you're angry at those people, you're happy that somebody bombed them and then burned them alive. But the initial reason that those people were angry at the Jordanian pilot was because he was doing bombings and burning their children alive.
Mm-hmm. I know.
And then he left.
And what did you do?
I mean, when it's hard to explain because if you don't have a relationship with the Lord, it's.
Well, I mean, I've heard you say no to him. So, did you agree or?
No, that one I said. That one was a real gut punch to me because in that moment I truly felt for the first time. You know, we talk about being sinners all the time, but when you see evil like ISIS, it's very convenient because you're able to separate yourself from them and say, hey, I make mistakes, but I'm not like those guys. And it was one of those moments where the Lord was able to go, nah, bro, you are that's you. You. And I told that story last year, and one of my friends on that channel got offended because I said that's in all of us. And of course, you know, people want to believe that they're better than they are, but it doesn't take much. It really truly doesn't take much to be a monster. Yeah. And you know, you have to, it's like Peterson was talking about, like you have to embrace the shadow and you have to embrace that side of yourself, not in the sense of embracing it in the sense of, oh, I'm going to nurse this evil, you know, whatever, but in the sense of understanding that you have that capability, you do have that gear. Everybody has it. But you got a group of people here who are the underdogs. They're being attacked by a global superpower. I mean, the Brits were the biggest bully on the block. And they just had that human spirit, man, because human beings were not meant to be under anybody's shoe. I don't care if it's black, white, Irish, Asian, it doesn't matter. We were not made to be each other's servants. So these Irish people, you know, say what you want, but they got that whole look, man. You ain't coming over here with that shit. We're gonna give you some of these. That's why, like, Conor McGregor is such a endearing figure, because you know the Irish have kind of always been the underdog, and they've always had to say, you know, they've had to fight and claw for everything for, like, let's say the past 1100 years. You know what I'm saying? So it creates a certain type of, and that's what I love about tonight in particular, is just that love for that heritage and that, you know, it's not my, you know, ancestors or whatever, but the shit is real. And the other thing is that this was not so long ago.
Right.
I mean,
right.
We were kids and the troubles were still happening in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we didn't you know what I'm saying? We didn't like have full awareness of what was happening, but we were contemporary. So it's not like this shit is like thousands of years old. Like, these people have family members that are dead, that they know are dead, and are traumatized to this moment. They saw all that shit happen. So, and you know, it's still happening now, apparently. I mean, wow. God almighty. That's just, you know, the idea, the bullshit that so many people have to deal with, that just is a normal thing. And it's really funny because I've been through a couple things and seen a couple things, but like when you see other people going through it, it's like, what the fuck, man? Yeah. So,
do you think that, you know how they'll have movies of like, okay, so I guess I'll use Lord of the Rings because that's the only example I can think of right now, but I've seen it in multiple storylines. So in Lord of the Rings, she takes the ring,
look at this shit. Everybody's like, this shit is still happening, bro. That's so fucked up, man. Shout out to Ireland. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I found the song.
Okay, cool. So, you know, you remember how I think she was like the elf, she had like the long blonde hair or something like that?
You talking about Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, remember the part where...
Steven Tyler's daughter, right?
No, it's the one with the blonde hair.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
go ahead.
And so, when he's talking to her, he's saying that he tells her, take the ring, because he doesn't want to do it, right? And then she like kind of throws around the idea of taking the ring, and then she's saying that if she took it, then she like transforms into something else, and then she's like, that would be the most powerful, you know what I mean? And she like looks all crazy and stuff. And remember like other people that wanted to take the ring, they were like, we can harness its power. And right now, basically, we're running from all these other people, but if we harness the power of the ring, but we don't let it completely take us over, like, this can save us. And then, obviously, in the storyline, it's impossible. The only thing to do is destroy the ring.
Right.
So, when you talk about Jordan Peterson, and you talk about, like, the shadow self and stuff, and, like, I'm still exploring what Jordan is talking about when he says like that you need to know your shadow self and you need to understand that it's a monster and but he talks about controlling that monster. And I'm not sure, like, obviously he doesn't have the same belief system as us, but and I don't even completely understand what he means by it.
That's not so obvious, but go ahead.
So do you think that like when you talk about like these situations, what is somebody supposed to do with that, like the dark side of these, these people, or everybody has their dark side? Do you think that it can be, do you think that you probably think that it's beyond, like there's nothing good that can come from the shadow side? But Jordan talks about it like
can come from, well, Jesus explicitly said that.
Yeah, but understanding that, nothing. Right? Yes.
So if you understand and embrace your shadow self from a Holy Spirit biblically saturated understanding of your shadow self and interrelate with your shadow self on biblical terms, then it's healthy. I don't think Jordan was saying that you can turn lemonades into lemons or lemons into lemonades through your shadow self.
No, he was more saying, like, from what I'm understanding, I still have to watch more of his stuff to know for sure. But I think he was saying, like, recognizing the damage that your shadow self can cause. So, for instance, maybe I'm the type of person that gets, like, one of the examples that he was giving was when parents don't deal with, like, if you're a parent, you know that your kid is going to do stuff that's wrong. And if you continue letting them go down the path of doing stuff that's wrong, eventually their wrongness is not just going to be destructive, but it's also going to annoy you. And as that progresses, if you don't deal with those behaviors, then they're going to keep bugging you. And eventually every parent will find a way to fight back, he says. So he's saying you need to recognize that within you have the capability of fighting back with even a child. So recognize that side of yourself and don't let yourself get there. So in that instance, it doesn't seem like he's saying use the shadow self. He's saying embrace it and know that about yourself so you don't make those errors.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm obviously a big believer in that. I mean, that's why I keep telling people that I just wish somebody would do an experiment and say, I'm going to tell myself I'm not really a good person, but that I'm unconditionally loved for a month. I'd like to see, like, what are the effects? Because look, when you hear that you have bad or evil in you, it's usually in a very destructive sort of, you're terrible, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of the times, like, and I think this is what JP was talking about, and, at the time that he made that video, he was a secularist, so it's very difficult, and that's one of the things that, on a real practical level with our religion is extremely convenient. I was talking to Callan Joss. He's like, your religion is extremely convenient for you too. I said, oh, of course. Because it gives you the ability to say, yeah, I'm not as good as I think I am or want to be. I'm not. And our template provides a way to acknowledge that without condemning yourself. And that's,
is it meant to exhaust you so you seek alternative options?
Well, yeah. I mean, Paul says the law is designed to bring us to Christ. So the law is designed, sure, for, maintaining a society, don't kill, yada, yada, yada. But it's also designed to show us how far we fall short. And, what's really cool is you don't necessarily need the Bible for that. Everybody creates their own moral structures, but even with the self-created ones, people can't live up to it. So you can't even live up. So like for me, it's like, okay, I'm specifically talking about the internal dialogue of, oh, you suck, you're a bad person, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, if you're a neutral person or you were born good, and then you somehow allow evil to metastasize to the point where the only thing that makes you happy is the death of another human being, right? Like, that's pretty dark. But instead of exploring that darkness, what we'll do is we'll say, well, what happened to me was dark and blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, bro, I know, but you're still dark though.
Yeah.
I know that other person did X, Y, and Z, and I know there's 5,000 people that are worse than you, but you are a dark motherfucker. Mm-hmm. And you got to deal with that. And I think the more that we recognize it about ourselves, that's the paradox of the whole thing. The more we acknowledge that, the less of that we actually are. Those kinds of evil can only function in dank, cold, and dark environments. Mm-hmm. So you when you bring it out to the light and you bring it to your friends or your village or whatever. I'm currently in the middle of a strange rhetorical jihad with a person that's probably more important to me than he realizes. To say it that way. I'm trying to be as general as I possibly can. But there's a lot of like on both sides, a lot of people on both sides trying to justify themselves without necessarily listening to the other person. So what's really cool is the conversation is happening, in text. And I usually hate communicating that way. But what I notice about this guy is that his mind works better when he has time. And that's one of the things I actually think about, because I'll go back and rewatch, our debates or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that guy's mind is not as quick as yours. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean he's wrong. Mm-hmm. It just means that the particular medium that he's operating in is not his home court. So anyway, the fact of the matter is that line was pretty crazy. Because we found ourselves in the same old mess singing drunken lullabies. So that's really interesting, because there's that whole stereotype of Irish people that they're all drunks. Like that's a big...
Yeah.
It kind of like... You've been at war for 500 years with a force that's more powerful than you, and this shit is still happening to this day, according to the chat. The worst that they could do is be alcoholics. Like, I'll tell you, like, I had that stereotype in my head about Irish people. Mm-hmm. And it's so crazy because, like, I didn't have judgments, oh, Irish people are terrible. But that's not good enough. Like, until now, it didn't click into my head. Well, of course. Like, these are people in pain. Of course they're going to medicate, right? With alcohol. Of course. You've been at war for 500 years. SubhanAllah. We were at war for 20 years with the Afghans, and everybody's rightly saying, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Right? So you got an entire... Okay, so you put an entire group of people that have to contend with that bullshit for generation after generation, and then they're looking into the future with their kids and going, yep, you're going to have the same conversations with your kids as I had to have with you. Of course they're going to be... You know what I'm saying? Like, of course they're gonna be.
Yeah.
You know? And what's crazy is we find ourselves in the same old mess singing drunken lullabies. So the medication is not helping. So they're like, we will throw everything we can at this problem. Music. You know what I'm saying? Everything we possibly can.
Yeah, the drunken lullabies part to me was... can you tell that person? You can email us, Vin and Max. Somebody Max.
Metalcore Max. How can I talk to you, Vin and Sori? Yeah, vinandsori@gmail.com. Send me an email. I answer the emails on Gmail, and Sori answers the emails on Patreon.
That to me, the singing drunken lullabies thing was... I know it's not super popular to talk about your child self or your,
inner child.
Your inner child, yeah. So, but I kind of thought it was like that, where it was singing drunken lullabies, because there's this, everything was going wrong, and there's all this war and conflict and all these different things, and they're drunk. But at the same time, like, I think that, well, why a lullaby?
Mm-hmm.
That's
deep. Go ahead, develop that.
So just... the idea of that when people get in horrible situations, how they'll sometimes like kind of get into the fetal position, and there's a sort of safety that you have. Obviously not everybody, because some people are in horrible situations when they were kids, but there's a sort of safety that you had inside the womb, and then a sort of safety that you have as a child when your mom is loving you and singing lullabies to you. And So maybe there's a certain piece that they were looking for, and that sort of simplicity of being a child in the arms of your mother, just drinking milk. And here they are now, they're drinking alcohol and they're singing drunken lullabies because they keep finding themselves in the same old mess. But at the same time, they're repeating history, but they don't repeat their life. So they're never again a child, but they keep finding themselves again and again and again in conflict, but they never get to find that place where they were at peace. And so to me, the Drunken Lullabies is that. It's that desire to go back to a simpler time, a place where you were safe and a place where you didn't realize all the conflicts yet. It was just, here's mom singing lullabies.
I always think to myself, like, I was thinking about this yesterday because I'm a morbid person. I think about death probably 5 hours a day. But, like, I was thinking about a person who dies and then they wake up after they die and they start laughing. Actually, it was in the movie. We're about to do a movie review of a movie that we saw. What's it called? Good Guy?
Mm-hmm. Free Guy.
Free Guy. Free Guy is the name of the movie. Mega deep movie. Mega deep.
Crazy.
Mega deep. We'll probably we're probably gonna go out and watch it again, and then we're probably gonna do a spoiler review on.
Oh, good! I want to see it again.
Such a good movie, but anyway, I was thinking about like death and a person like waking up and like laughing hysterically, like holy shit. Like when somebody gets punked or something, and
that's
they're
what
like,
I was thinking.
This shit the whole time.
I've been had.
It's. I feel like it's one of those types of situations, and it was kind of like a cool moment. I was imagining a couple people, and I'm like, oh, inshallah, we'll see. But it also made me think about what about being the evil motherfucker who started a war and killed thousands of people just because you wanted an inch of land. And now you wake up into the real reality and you see that inch of land literally was nothing. It was literally pixels. Literally.
And the only thing real was the people you killed.
And the only thing real in that entire fake ass
was the souls you destroyed.
Was the people. And then the other side of it is like, I don't know how he's gonna work it out, but you're gonna see those. That's so fucking awkward, man. Like I told someone one time, like I'm not really a fan of killing people, man, because I don't want to see them again. He's like, you're not gonna see him again, Vin. I'm like, no, nigga, I'm gonna see him again. Wow. But Metalcore Max, send us an email, vinsori@gmail.com. Holy moly. This song, we could spend the entire night on this song. You know what else is crazy to me, is particularly about Irish people and their folk music? It's always happy.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
But they're singing about like the most horrible shit. But these people,
yeah, but I think
you can't keep them down.
No, I think that there's something to be learned in that, because if you have, I think there's only so much sorrow that a soul can hold before it just drops too low. And so I think that you can't forget about what's happening, and you can't just stuff your head in the sand, but at the same time you can't bury yourself in sorrows. And so I think that the vehicle that they use to bring these stories is happy and it's uplifting. So you can choose to decide to listen to the lyrics.
True. Or
you can try to engage the music and dance. But either way, this is your life. This is the way that things have been, and this is the way that they're going to continue to be, unless we learn from history. So, and I think that you can see that pattern in life, not just in the music. Like, we can go right now and we can look on socials and find tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. Or you can use those same platforms to find people doing amazing things and helping people. And what is that thing? There was like a New York, something about good things in New York, and it's all these unbelievable stories.
Oh, Humans of New York. Yeah.
Humans of New York. You can find that on Facebook. Stuff like that, where you can just... But I think that, we can't, bury ourselves in entertaining media and never face the facts of what's happening around us and face the tragedies. But anyway, that's my take.
Good song, y'all. We got one more
Wait, what do
song
you
for
give
you
it?
guys
What
on
do
the
you give it?
DJ stream. So if you're on the stream, stay with us. If you're in regular YouTube land, you can only catch us tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This song, I'm going to have to do another 9.4.
Ooh, okay, I'm matching you on that one.
9.4?
Yep.
There you are. There you are, dear listener. The moral of the story is stop killing people and be happy, huh? Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.